Enter text inspirational, story, learning English, in a new world. Part 1, starting a new journey. Amir, a young man full of dreams and motivation, from a small town, had always wanted to travel to different countries and meet new people. Since his childhood, he had dreamed of exploring different cultures and discovering a new world of languages and experiences. However, he had one big problem. He couldn't speak English easily. Sometimes, even in simple conversations, he found himself struggling. One day, while sitting in the library looking for a book to help him learn the language, he felt a wave of frustration. There were so many books on the shelves, but none of them seemed like they could help him. He put his hands on his face and whispered to himself, "How can I master this language?" At that moment, an old man with a kind face and a smile approached him. Old man: "My boy, why do you look so worried?" Amir: "I want to learn English, but every time I try it seems so hard." The old man sat down gently and looked at Amir. He had lived a long life and knew how challenging learning a language could be. "Old man, I know a way that can help you, but first you must promise not to give up. Learning a language is like a journey full of challenges and hard moments, but if you keep going, you'll reach a place where nothing can stop you." Amir nodded eagerly, feeling encouraged by the old man's words. He was eager to learn what this way was. The old man handed him a small book and said, "This is not just a book, it's the key to a new world. Read one page every day, listen, write, and speak. And most importantly, leave your fear behind." That night, Amir opened the book with great excitement. On the first page, it read, "Every language is like a door. If you have the right key, no door will be closed to you." This sentence stuck with Amir so strongly that every time he faced a challenge, he remembered it and started over with renewed effort. He decided to spend more time learning each day, even if his progress seemed small. Part 2, the first steps. Amir eagerly turned the page. On the next page, it was written, "To learn a language, you must live it, not just study it." He thought about this sentence. What did it mean to live a language? Wasn't reading books enough? The next day, Amir decided to change his approach. He went to a café and carefully listened to people's conversations. He wrote down every word he understood, but he still didn't have the courage to speak. In the corner of the café, the same old man was sitting. When he saw Amir, he smiled and said, "Old man, what did you learn today?" Amir: "I heard some new words, but I still can't speak." The old man laughed and said, "Do you know what the biggest enemy of learning is? Fear. If you want to learn English, you must make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more you will learn." Amir nodded. He had always been afraid of making mistakes. But now, he realized that mistakes were part of the learning process. At that moment, the cafe waiter approached. Amir took a deep breath and, for the first time, placed his order in English. Part 3, overcoming fear. After ordering his coffee, Amir's heart was beating faster than ever. Was his sentence correct? Did the waiter understand him? A few seconds later, the waiter smiled and said, "Sure, one coffee coming, right up." Amir breathed a sigh of relief. For the first time in his life, he had spoken English and received a response. The old man, watching from a distance, smiled and said, "See, you've taken your first step." Amir excitedly replied, "But my sentence was so simple." Amir excitedly replied, "But my sentence was so simple." Old man: "Every journey begins with a small step. The important thing is to keep going. That night, Amir studied with even more motivation. He used learning, apps, watched English movies with subtitles, and practiced speaking in front of a mirror every day. But he still had one problem. He couldn't hold a long conversation. A few days later, he returned to the same café. This time, he decided to be braver. When the waiter brought his coffee, Amir smiled and said, "Hi, how are you today?" The waiter, happy with this change, responded cheerfully, "I'm good. How about you?" For a moment, Amir hesitated, but then he remembered the old man's words, "Fear is the biggest enemy of learning." So he took a deep breath and replied, "I'm good too. Thank you." This short conversation might seem simple to others, but for Amir, it was a huge victory. He realized that if he kept going, one day he would be able to speak fluently. Part 4. A New Challenge. Amir's confidence was growing. Every day he tried to speak more English, even if it was just a few words. But he knew that learning a language wasn't just about speaking, it was also about understanding others. One evening he was sitting in the park, listening to an English podcast on his phone. He could understand some words, but not the full meaning. Frustrated, he sighed. Just then, the old man appeared again. Old man. "What's wrong, my boy?" Amir. "I can speak a little, but when I listen, I can't understand everything." The old man smiled. Listening is like music. At first, you hear only noise, but the more you listen, the more you understand the rhythm and words. Amir nodded, thinking about this. He decided to listen more, even if he didn't understand everything. He started watching movies without subtitles, listening to English songs and repeating the words he heard. A week later, he went back to the café. This time he wanted to test himself. When the waiter spoke to him, Amir listened carefully. "Waiter, would you like anything else?" Amir understood the question. He smiled and replied, "No, thank you, just the coffee." The old man, watching nearby, nodded in approval. You see, the more you listen, the more you learn. Amir realized something important. Learning English wasn't just about words. It was about patience, practice, and believing in himself.